Start recording. Once again, you're tuned into Sage Against the Machine, the most niche podcast, well, anywhere. What do we got?
I'm Isaac.
I'm Joshua. And we have a guest today.
Hello, I'm Trent David.
Yes. And so we've gathered here together to talk about the news of the hour because it's on Facebook and people are getting wild.
Facebook, the way to get your news.
I mean, I know my mind is changed by Facebook every time I read an argument.
Hey, me too. That's the way I operate.
That's why I'm going to make a big pronouncement on there just to tell people how I feel. I met Trent, well, I've seen him around, but he was at the Longhouse for a meeting over the weekend, and I saw that he does some streaming himself. Why don't you talk about your stream first before we start bitching about stuff?
So, really, my stream, I'm not serious. You know,
No.
Like I said a little bit earlier, my stream is just, it's a dude doing dude things. That's what I like to call it. You know, like I don't have no strict guidelines of what's going on. I might put on like, I would say my basis though is gaming, betting, gambling. Like I'll go to a casino, we'll sit there, put together bets for sports, and dabbing. I like dabbing. So that's another
I like
thing.
that too.
It's literally called the dab lab you're in.
Nice.
We got a dab camera. Yeah.
Is that a camera in the dab?
You know, I'm going to look into that.
That would be the technological breakthrough of the century.
I
right
think
there.
I think we'll hit it big if we figure
Better than
that
cold
out.
fusion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did see some impassioned articles on the internet, on the old Facebook. I have been reading what people were writing. I've, for the most part, managed to keep my hot little fingers away from the keyboard and not make a big old pronouncement using antiquated terms from fights that happened 40 years ago.
Well, as I'm sure nobody who listens to the show is surprised, I have not been able to withhold myself from using my hot sausage fingers on Facebook because this is fucking infuriating to me. All the land claim stuff. So we got the young guy in here.
And he makes a good point. He's talking about the youth being disempowered. And why don't you speak to that? Because I can't do that. I'm not a youth anymore, they tell me.
Neither am I. I'm old now. So...
All right. Well, you know what? I almost feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm Trent, but when I'm in the community, I don't like to go by that. Like,
Yeah.
if you see here, this is Fishbear Studios. This is a creation between me and my fiance of 7 years. It's a Native American graphic design company, and we specialize in environmental, health, cultural, and social justice. We put an emphasis on Native American issues and concerns, but we don't really care. We'll help anyone because in the end, social justice is for everyone. So we're not picky. Why am I going to discriminate with helping people? So our studio, our main focus is to amplify people's voices throughout the world. The people who aren't seen, who are fighting corporations, these big old conglomerates, like these little places all over the world, they reach out to us because we've been in the art sector for so long that we're kind of known there. So like it's, they reach out to us now, and because we created this 7 years ago in Standing Rock. That's where I met my wife.
Okay.
Standing Rock.
Okay.
So she's from California. She's from Yurok Nation, Northern California. Her people are the salmon people, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we got fish in our name, Fishbear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Bear Clan from here, so that's how we Fishbear.
Makes sense.
That's so our collaboration is Fishbear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Born in a protest. That is as gone as it gets.
yeah, so we had the choice of either going to California or Snai, and
You idiot.
the cool one, you know?
You picked wrong.
Or did we? We never know.
We'll see, right?
Yeah.
Wait till,
Don't trash die.
Yeah.
wait till January 6th when the nukes fly.
No, boy.
It's close.
I'll tell you something. Last January 6th, with this incoming thing,
Yeah.
we were in teepees and tents over in Standing Rock, and the second day, on January 7th, bulldozers and ARs came in. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll kill. They'll kill. That's every bureaucracy is made of violence.
Mm-hmm.
They're all petty little weaklings who use the power of the group to commit their violence and then pretend it's not violent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hot button thing for Josh, especially. We talk about it a lot here, but it's definitely a problem that we see. Those bureaucracies essentially are being held up by police states and, even the military at times.
I mean, it's a great invention, right? It's they know everything. They're never wrong, and nobody's ever responsible.
Well, I mean,
That's perfect.
look at the fucking election.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, did they really, they're taking, there's no deep self-reflection going on there as to why the Democrats lost.
Yeah.
Not only did they lose, they got the shit kicked out of them. They lost every swing state. And then they want to blame it on black people.
Yeah.
They want to blame it on Latino men.
I'm going by red hats.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking insane. And it's like, no, just try to understand that the reason why you lost is because you don't reach working class people anymore. You're elitists and you're fucking smug, arrogant assholes. That's why you lost.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a little bit of that going on sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
So in the news today, it's gotten hot. I guess there's a couple ways to go about it. I don't know, how do we kick it off? Because we've talked about the upcoming land claim signing. Now, from what I understand, the one thing I did mention to people, because some people seem to be under the, I guess, fantasy that all these meetings that the tribe and the Mohawk Council held were to gather their opinion. And
right.
They weren't. They were just there to tell them what they're doing.
It's a show.
Well, yeah, the whole time. The one I went to last year, I asked that, is this meeting to gather our opinion or just to inform us? And they said it's to inform us. Oh, okay. And then I asked some questions pertinent to that because, I'm not here to influence you anymore.
Well, I mean, I would think at this point, one of the important questions to ask would be, I understand this is an informational session, but why don't you give me the information on how we could change whatever the fuck you're doing? I mean, that's kind of at the point. And I don't know, people who aren't paying attention to this in the community, and we do have listeners who aren't from here. I think we should kind of give a little background to it of what's cooking right now in our community. People are pissed.
Yeah,
I've seen it's boiling. Like, it's really getting to a point where people are talking about doing some of the shit that I talked about before.
Yeah, they're getting,
organized and angry.
Camos coming out.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Not to be hyperbolic, like that's...
Why do you think I wore this?
Yeah, that's your...
This shirt is almost 20 years old.
Oh,
I did it for a reason.
Isaac's going full warrior. You
Fucking
better be
right,
afraid.
Man. Yep.
He's gonna walk kind of slowly towards you to get you.
Yeah. Hey, watch it.
If I get close enough, this war club will do damage.
I already got long arms. If I use that war club, you're fucked. But so I mean that's kind of the that's the temperature in Onkwehonwe right now. So
yeah.
I mean it's and we have our guest here today. We're personally, I'm very curious to know what you think about how everything is starting to boil up right now.
Yeah, because usually I lock into like my comedy buddies to see what the regular people think. Because me and Isaac are like,
we're freaks. We pay attention to all this shit.
Yeah. So what's like normal guy?
All right. Well, I don't know how normal I am. So like, how long do we got here? That's
we got as long as this hard drive lasts.
You know what I mean? So like, man, it's just like, where do I start?
Well, we'll start where you started. How did you become first like aware of what's going on? What brought you to that meeting at the Longhouse?
All right, so that's kind of why I started with our studio. Like, we are based in social justice.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we make a living. Like, I don't want to say we're profiting off of these right things, but like, when we were in Standing Rock, we seen our skills and techniques. Not techniques, but just like what we've learned over the years. People come to us to teach them. And it's like, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I want to go and work at the casino when I have the opportunity? People want us to teach them things. People want us to help them. So it's like, when this opportunity came to us, there's no reason why I wouldn't have chose it. You know what I mean? It does sound weird we're making a living off of it, but I'm so passionate about it that that's what I want to do 24/7 is I want to do things and help people. So that's kind of where I started.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's my mind frame coming into this. And, like, Onkwehonwe wasn't even on my radar, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I live here. But, like, I brought a whole portfolio here. And, like, we cover issues from Hawaii to, like, Australia, all over the place. Like, Aboriginals, Indigenous, Native Americans, we're all the same people. So, like, we have such a big list of things. And once I started hearing things about here, I really only got into about 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I actually heard of it. Like, you're going to hear them say, this has been going on for 40 years. Where have you been? I've been alive for 32 years. Where do you think I've been?
Yeah.
Like, you can't say that to me.
I've been in public school where you put
Yeah.
me, asshole.
Exactly. Like,
I was eating hot lunch at the Mohawk school. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's you're young.
I was the age where they've sent me to school. I got hooked to opiates in the epidemic. So, like, that's what I learned in school.
Mm-hmm.
I wasted 10 years to that. So once I got off addiction, like, I'm like, man, I wasted so long on this. And I started, Standing Rock was kind of the thing that really kicked me in gear. Like, get your shit together, you know, but it's a whole struggle of getting your life on track.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but, like, nowadays.
You can say it.
Not on air.
I always say that in my mind. Hey,
Josh and I say we're perfect all the time.
positive self-talk is very important to the healing mind.
All right.
I hate myself, but I'm right about everything.
Don't hate yourself.
All
Love
right.
yourself. You're lovable. You're a big
Yeah,
old bear.
I am. Yep, I sure am.
So, yeah, like 3-4 years ago, I started paying attention. And like everyone else, I didn't really care. You know, I didn't. Because I was busy staying alive, like paying my bills, getting food. Like, I didn't worry about a land claim that really, who really knows about it? Who knows about land claims that are going on? So, but like in the thing, I started paying attention to it. And like, I was a renter during this time while I was paying attention, MCA and SRMT. And I actually was for this land claim. For like a couple years, I was the one going around and be like, we need land. You know how nice 70 million is? That was me. I was the one going around.
It's fair. It's a practical argument.
Exactly.
Let's not discount it completely.
No, hey, I would never do that because when you don't dig into the issue deeply, that is a rational and
It's an offer on the table.
yeah,
a bird in hand.
It's something.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah. And like being that person, I learned my facts from MCA and SRMT. When I went to these meetings, I got their page. I'm not a historian, so everything I'm gonna say, take a grain of salt and look it up for yourself, because don't listen to me. But I'm talking, so whatever you want to do. But like, geez, I just went off on that. And I forgot.
It's okay, man. Take a deep breath and keep on going.
Yeah. But what was it? Just remind me real quick.
You got all your information from the official sources.
Oh, yeah. So when you go there's only 10, 12 pages they give you of like quick facts of here's 40, 50 years on 2 pages. And it's like, all right, well, that's all my information. All right, let's sign this. This looks awesome.
And the
You know what
meeting
I mean?
lasts an hour, and
Yes, and then you get up and you're like, hey, this don't sound good. And they're like, no, it sounds real good. Don't worry, it's good. I'm like, oh, it is. All right, hey, it's awesome. They confirmed it's okay then.
you trusted the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
It's
so,
good.
like,
They said so. That's my Auntie Dolores.
Yeah, exactly.
She likes the Jesus cult, but oh well.
Yeah.
My cousin works for him too. It's okay.
Yeah, so like I'm just as guilty as the next person of not digging deep, you know? Like it does take a little bit of energy to actually get into these issues, and once you get into them, you're already doing energy digging into it, and once you learn stuff, it's just like, oh my god, now
Might as well
what do I
keep
do?
going, right?
Now I can't stop talking for the next 3 days because I gotta tell everybody.
Yep.
It's like, geez, I'm crow.
That's what we need, though.
Yeah. So I started digging deeper because that's what we do, you know, like, and what it was is a lot of it was the longhouses. Like, I'm not raised in the longhouse. I can't tell you all the laws and everything that goes on there, but I am an Onkwehonwe native who been born and raised here. So like, I do totally support everything they are saying, like all the ways that just life, you know what I mean? It just clicks. So like, I do agree. It's just I wasn't raised, so like I'm not saying I'm like not. There's circles, but to me I go when I need it. You know what I mean? So, but whenever I started paying more attention to the longhouse, these are the people that went into depth for me. Like I would sit there, and these ain't our meetings. We're going through every single page. We're with lawyers, and they're telling us exact bullet points. What does this mean? I'm not telling you what this means. You take this and you go think about this yourself at your house. And that's what I do, because like I already got fooled by the tribe and MCA. I don't want to get fooled by a longhouse.
Or a lawyer, and they're trying to fool everybody.
Yeah, so like...
Lawyers be full of shit? No way.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that happening before.
So like, it's just people, you know? I love the longhouse.
Yeah.
But everything you hear, you just got to put everything together, because in the end, I'm not a historian. I do not have these papers in front of me. I have the settlement, but like I can't like literally get into super details with it because I don't have those, you know?
Right.
I think you're reflecting the average.
Yeah, that is the average.
Lono kind of trajectory, you know, a little life, little on the dark side,
and
you know, and
I don't think that, you know, kind of little, what I'm picking up is, you know, it's almost seems like you feel a little guilty about, you know what I mean? Or, you know, like faulting yourself a little bit, and you shouldn't, because that's what, you know, like you said, you're digging into these things. That takes a lot of time and energy, you know, and everybody is trying to, you know, get through life, pay their bills, make sure food's on the table, all of that. So it's, you know, it's totally understandable, I think, why, you know, most of the people in the community don't dig into this. You know, Josh and I are fucking nerds, so, you know, like, we're obsessed with this stuff. But, you know, most people in their free time, they want to spend time with their kids. They want to spend time with their wife. That's totally understandable. And the thing is that the councils and those lawyers, and there's even people at the longhouses who will exploit that. You know, they know this. They know that a lot of people don't want to, you know, spend, you know, they don't want to spend 10 hours a week on, you know, this, or 20 or whatever. Yeah. Because they have a life. They want to enjoy it as well.
And it's not always malicious.
No.
Sometimes it's hubris. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of our people have huge control issues.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if that's ever crossed your life once or twice.
Oh, skip that subject.
Yeah, but it's what I mean. But it really is. You know,
it's almost like we're all traumatized or something.
Yeah. Okay, you tell me what to do, and I'll do exactly what you say.
Just like the priest told me.
I can't say that here. That was a funny ass joke.
Yeah, the wrong podcast for that joke.
Yeah, I'll come on the Outlaws. I'm due for an appearance.
We can see where I can already see where you were going.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one particular version of the Jesus religion where I think they got to start questioning things, because it's like, dude, it's not just us.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's everybody.
Someone needs to be like broken apart like Ma Bell was.
Yeah, it gets pretty fucked up.
All right, so
when you started to, okay, so you went to the Longhouse and you started to question some of these things. What was there, like a specific thing where it was like a light bulb went off in your head, where it was like, wait a minute, I looked at this, or was it the conglomeration of everything, you know, digging into it more, and it just kind of made that bulb go off and say, I've been steered wrong?
Yeah, it was one of them deer lights, you know, like, because I can't say one thing, because once you get into it, you start realizing every single thing they've been telling you probably has about 2-3 hidden things behind it.
Exactly.
So I can't even say one thing.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you things that resonated with me, and like, I totally agree with tons of the things I've heard from the longhouses, and I'm still learning. Really, you know, like, I say the longhouses, but it's the people there, it's just the community members, like just getting into different circles and listening to different thoughts. Like, it's a longhouse, but you also got to think of the people that don't even do any of this, like, and no affiliation at all. That FB warrior people talk about, like, they have a thought. Like,
yeah. Just ethnically Mohawk.
Yeah,
yeah, and I don't know how like you want to go about this because like
we don't have an agenda.
Josh and I meander.
Because it's like
it's the ADHD theater.
Yeah, I know it's not an information meeting. I don't want to do that because
no.
Yeah.
We try to go more in for analysis, and it's heavily editorializing our thoughts and views. But I mean, we do give facts, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to be like I in traditional circles and in protest circles too. You'll find a lot of information. Some of it's horseshit. Yeah. There's a lot of crazy people out there, and they tend to gravitate towards you already got to be kind of different and outside society to, I guess, make the leap. So,
have you ever heard about the nonprofit complex?
Yeah. I'm a bit critical.
We deal with them.
Well,
I understand.
And that's the thing, the discernment, the analyzation of all of this stuff, because. And believe me too. I mean, you work in justice. You know that there are monsters, gross people, who will prey upon people who are just looking for information. They want to do a good thing, and these people will take advantage of that. They'll exploit their good nature. Like they want to do something about this, and there are people out there who will give them incomplete information, or will continue to spin and manipulate those people in order to get further with their own gains. So I'm sure you've seen that before.
There's an Indian law complex as well, because Indian law cases tend to take decades and decades and decades.
It's complicated.
And it's like a gravy train. You're getting paid for fucking 40 years sometimes.
Yeah.
However, I'll dip into something. I keep seeing how it's posted that this was a 40-year-old process, but no, right? The process was dead with Cheryl,
right?
Until what happened?
Until, for whatever reason, the triangle became another thing. So when so we were talking about this before the show. Now, a question that I want to ask the councils is, particularly the SRMT, is. They keep referencing 05 and that everything was dead. And my thing is, was that ever official? Did the court ever throw it out? Like, obviously this came back up, and they say that it came back on the table because the court allowed that. Well, so it never really went away. It went away. Where's the documentation on that? Did the court rule on it? And these things are, I think, are the like foundational questions to ask them. How the fuck did that happen?
When did it get back on the table?
Yeah, when did it get back on the table? How did that happen? Was it really ever off the table? I mean, because for a process that's been continuing for 40 years, to have that long a break, and that's the thing about this too, is you put the Cheryl decision in there in 05. And by the way, I don't care. I'll say it again. RBG, I do not. She is not a hero. She fucked all of us.
We're going to go there and pee on her grave.
Yep, I would. But anyway, I don't know. That might be a little much.
I would.
But I know you would. You're crazy.
I just went, sorry.
But the thing is when you get to that, it almost sounds to me like they're talking about 05 and they're inferring that everything was off the table because of Cheryl. And then we end up with, this magically restarting for, whatever other number of reasons that they give. But then you end up in 2022 with the district court decision from Judge Kahn specifically saying, 3 or 4 references to there were specific violations of the Non-Intercourse Act. And so how do things get thrown off the table, and then you end up with this ruling, so like the specifics of all of that kind of goes back to what you were saying is, you're not explaining that in detail. You're not showing us the documentation. There's more behind this that you're not telling us that we don't understand. And because we can't spend time on this this isn't our job. Those of us who are spending a lot of time on this, outside of our normal duties, it's still not our job. And most of us can't get to it full time.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating in that aspect when there's very specific questions that we can ask that just get ignored or they obfuscate, and it just seems to me it's in that effort to continue to make things murky and just to drag it out.
Which doesn't build trust in people for one reason or another, right?
Geez, I mean...
Jeez, why do I don't trust you?
It's terrible that I don't trust these people because they didn't tell me every fucking thing that I'm asking them.
Yeah.
So maybe I can help you out with that a little bit, because maybe, like I said, I'm not the historian here, but like from my understanding of that was the sheriff, when they threw it out, they could not prove a majority of especially Fort Covington and Messina Mile. That's why they're not included. I'm pretty sure. They could not prove a majority of the residents in there were Mohawks.
Right. It would disrupt too many people.
Exactly. So they had to throw those out.
And they took that thing many years ago. Those numbers would be different today.
Yeah,
they would be very different
So
today.
they had to throw out so many things for them to actually come back to the table. No. It was also that they threw away so much things. And then they also... No, it was a little bit after that. But they also started holding their payments.
Now, who threw out those things? Who threw out the miles square? Who threw those out? Did the tribe just withdraw those claims from it? Or did the court actually withdraw those, the miles square from the claim?
Mm-hmm. So... I wish I had the SRMT bullet points right now, because that's what I learned.
I know. Before this, I said, "Hey, we should download the final agreement and we should have it word for word."
I have it on my phone actually, but
those are the kind of questions,
yes,
you know what I mean, that need to be like fully and clearly illuminated for everybody.
Yes, and like I'm hazy on it, but
Sure.
I have heard about it, and it's just hard to reenact.
And that's why I asked them because, and I wasn't grilling you about it. I'm grilling counsel about this.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, they make the way that they speak makes it seem as though the court threw them out. If the court threw them out, then where's the ruling
you're
on
asking
that?
for the exact.
Yeah, I want to see the actual detail of why were those. They talk about them being removed from the. Well, why? Why? Who did it?
Yeah.
Did you voluntarily say, okay, if New York now is willing to go into negotiations to settle the land claims? Did we voluntarily say, well, our representatives, did they voluntarily say, okay, we'll remove the mile square from the claim. We'll remove Barnhart from it. And, and that could be a possibility. Another possibility could be that the court said, well, we now have the Sherrill decision, and so we're going to just sever those from the settlement. Now, in my meager experience, I don't know how a court could, without the request from one of the parties, one of the plaintiffs, the plaintiffs or the respondents in the case, to consider that decision to be able to do that, And if that was the case, then if you took them out, then what does that mean? Does that mean that we can never go after them again? And is that why that they have the language in there to extinguish the claims to Barnhart in this agreement? That $70 million, which, by the way, NYPA will make money off of that because it's $2 million a year. They're going to put that into an account, and they will actually fucking make money off of that. So these are the kinds of things that in an informational session or one of their typically brief kind of things, they get glossed over. They don't get fully explained, and it's hard to nail down, these detailed responses to this backed up by the documentation, So it's like, it's just really frustrating to get to that point.
And how much of it is it moot from the Judge Kahn decision? Right. That's the thing too. What I don't really know much about is the withholding of the casino funds.
Mm-hmm.
But what sticks out in my head is, number one, holy New York is moving fast on this.
Yes.
I've never seen New York move fast like that before.
Yeah.
They really, really, really want us to sign this.
Yes.
Why? I mean, how much care do they have over podunk, marginal farmland in the North Country? Really?
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they don't. They let those people rot.
Yes.
Like what are they? Franklin County is the poorest county in the state.
Is it really?
Yeah.
They don't care about the
They
farmers.
do not.
They do not.
So what a fight we have to have for this land.
Yep.
And then why are they moving so fast? And the state is so desperate. And I've asked this, and they don't have a good answer for that. Mm-mm. And that gives me pause, because one thing a couple of things crystallized in my head at the Longhouse meeting, and one of them is that statement about clouds over the ownership of land. Mm-hmm. That's what they want, this process to remove the clouds. And part of what's cloudy now is Barnhart Island and the power dam, a thing they value a lot. Another are all these solar companies. Those
are huge solar farms.
Those are huge solar farms that are paid for by your tax money, by the way.
Yes.
And
you're not going to get discounted electricity.
The whole thing's just a scam. It's just a way to direct money into the...
Yeah, it's another corporation fucking everybody over. Yeah,
this is not the area of land for solar.
There's nothing altruistic about
this place is darker than Seattle.
Yep.
So that's one thing that crystallized for me, is like, this is mostly, I think, about NIPA and the power dam.
Absolutely.
And this another thing that crystallized for me is they keep bringing up the electricity that we'll be able to buy it at a wholesale rate. Can't we do that already?
Probably, I would think.
Can't most businesses of a certain size,
governmental agent.
corporations? Yeah. Arconic does it.
Yes.
I'm very certain that if we combined our political entities, we could be the size of Arconic.
Yeah, for sure.
Couldn't we simply just buy that anyways? The third thing was the SUNY schools that keep pushing. Don't we already get a lot of SUNY education for free already?
They have the Excelsior Scholarship for people, families who make under $125,000 a year, and that's for everybody.
Yeah.
And I was just seeing a discussion about this on Facebook. You want to talk about free tuition? Well, then let's make it so that any of our kids who, if they want to go to a private,
if they're smart enough and they're not full of shit.
Well, yeah, but if these kids can get into a private university, then you really want to make a difference in educational, advancements there, then pay for the fucking tuition for a private school too.
Yeah. And it better be STEM or medicine.
Yeah, well, that's a whole. We can get into that. Like, the tribe should be investing into our kids to pay for their education to go into those fields anyway.
Yeah,
because dummies like me who can only read and write fairly well, or what the fuck?
What do I know? I'm a high school dropout. I just build computers.
Yeah. No, you build a lot of cool shit. You guys should see the porch and the deck that Josh did. It's pretty impressive considering.
I'm a pretty impressive guy.
Yeah, that long hair. He's got a Jesus component going on here. Jesus was a carpenter.
It's my Indian antenna.
Jesus was a carpenter. Easy laid beats.
So that stuck on my mind. Now, there are three components to this whole thing, right? There's three plaintiffs. There's not one plaintiff. I don't know how the tribe became mucho uno number one.
Yeah, that's a good question.
In this whole thing. And if I were Mohawk Council, I'd be like, grow some nuts, man.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, when did you guys become such a pack of, bootlicking, whatever?
Toadies?
Yeah. Come on, grow some balls, dudes. You have the biggest population of Indians here.
That's very, very true. And, you and I talked before about the election results that happened in MCA, and this was, this really changed the composition of the council over there. And we had some, hope that things were.
Yeah, you had some hope.
Yeah, well, okay. I had some hope. Josh kind of felt it was going to be status quo.
There's a reason I'm a comedian, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought I was the most cynical fucking guy on the planet, and you taught me on that. But it's, I really thought there was some hope in there, and because of my work schedule, I haven't been able to go to some of these meetings that have been happening. But my understanding is that the tone from the community members was very oppositional to the land claim settlement. But it was also my understanding that it kind of seems like most of the council is just like, ho hum, let's just do it. why do we want to relitigate all of this?
It is the group that brought you the Dundee land claim. So,
right. And
I mean, not the particular ones that were just elected.
No.
The ones that were incumbents.
Well, what there is a couple of, one I'm thinking of in particular that really went hard against the Dundee claim. And, I haven't been able to speak with them individually, but I would like to know, is this really, seem, any better than Barnhart to you or to Dundee?
Yeah.
I just, that's an honest, fair question.
Well, none of us actually owned land in Dundee, so.
Right, exactly. They're sitting on that money.
Oh, that's another point. This is Tangent Radio. Another point I did want to bring up is it's from willing sellers. My neighbors are white people. They're farmers. They're decent people. They've lived here for 200 years.
Sure.
Guess who's not ever selling their fucking giant piece of land?
They're never going to do
Ever,
that.
ever. You will have to Guess who won't? Guess who gets really pissed off at their relatives if their relatives happen to sell off pieces of their former lands?
Yeah. And then the fact is, too, like with this settlement, I'm sorry, but anytime you tell me that we're getting land back, but we have to purchase it, and also another aspect of that is that you have to put the title under the tribe in order to make it into Indian land. So, we have to pay for it ourselves, and I've spoken to a couple of people who made offers in those blocked out sections to people prior to the settlement, reaching, completion. And they told me that the white people that they made an offer to told them flat out, I want to wait until the settlement is done because they're basically going to jack the fucking price up.
Yeah.
And because they know that we have to buy it
capitalism,
back from them.
baby.
And I don't actually... Do I think it's fucking... does it piss me off that the white people would do that? Yes, it does. Do I understand why they would wait? Yes, I do. And we're walking into that just willingly.
Although I do have respect for the dudes who will hang on to their land in the face of that.
Sure, that's fine.
That's someone who might value the land the same way we do. So.
Well, that's what the farmers you were talking about.
Yeah.
The only way that they would ever sell that land, and I understand,
they die and their next of kin does it,
or they're so destitute
that
they just can't hold on to it. I do respect that because that's the way most of us feel about our land.
Now, when you live in Akwesasne proper, how does land work there? I'd never bought land in the tribal area.
Well,
is it that side? So the Canadian side is way different than the American side. So I don't even. The Canadian side is such a cock up. But how does it work there? Is it fee simple?
It's kind of. I mean, honestly, because of the way we did it with our home, we did a use and occupancy deed with the tribe because we were working with the federal government as well. And I'm okay with that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it almost like there's that touch of me where it's when it's compulsory,
Yeah, is that everybody? Is that everybody has to do that?
I don't think you have to, but they encourage everybody to.
Of course
do
they do. Why wouldn't they? You give them your land.
Now there's another part to that I actually think is I think is relevant is I don't mean to diminish anybody's ability to keep records, but a lot of people do not keep very tight records on things. Now, when you go to the tribal clerk's office, they are going to keep a good record of everything. It's going to be organized.
We hope.
Well,
we better. We paid a lot of money for it.
The days of the tribal clerk bringing documents home, I think, has ended. So I do understand that as well. You can rest easy that the transactions have been accounted for and that they're there in the records and all of that. And I do think that's a good thing. But I also do. I mean, the interference with the tribal court that's been going on and has been a growing problem.
As it stands now, I don't think we're going to go for it.
Yeah.
I've had more fair shake in Franklin County. The land tax is not that big a deal. And now I'm told that if you've got a checkerboarded area and you're still getting services by the state, you might have to actually just pay for the service.
Yeah.
So the snow and.
Well, here's the thing. That's kind of what the Oneidas used to do, the 32 acres.
Yeah.
like when they would purchase property and stuff. Now, I don't know if they still do it like this, but it was essentially like, we won't pay you taxes, but we will pay for the services, and we'll contribute over, and, you know, we'll go above and beyond to support, you know, the fire department, the police,
which we do.
Well, we do, yes,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, I'm just using Oneidas in this example. And I've talked to people who own property in Messina and stuff, and they say they're willing to pay taxes because they get, you know, garbage removal, the roads are plowed, they get electrical service and all of that. And I can understand that. I don't like it to be compulsory. You know, I think that I think most of our people would say, okay, if you bill, you know what I mean? If you bill me something for snow removal and stuff and it's reasonable, I'll pay that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pay a compulsory tax that goes somewhere where I don't know what the fuck you're doing with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a reason to get indignant, and I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that kind of crystallized was like, okay, you got the three parties involved. MCA, they're going to do what they're going to do. The tribe, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yep.
Like, I'm not here to try to sway the tribe. I know for sure I'm not swaying the tribe.
No.
I don't know what would sway the tribe right now.
I do.
We're not going to mention that because we go to jail for that. And if you want to participate, you can't do it from jail.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I went to the Longhouse meeting, and I was pretty offended. I see the dictatorial nature coming out of individuals, and it's like, you know, I can sense these things because I'm allergic to order.
Yes.
I might have oppositional defiant disorder.
I'm pretty goddamn sure you do.
That's just a fancy word they made up for people who just don't
hate authority.
Yeah, it's not real. They used to have a fake mental syndrome when you were a runaway slave.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah. Don't worry. They've used science to be racist many, many times in the past.
Well, I mean, they used to actually, what was the shit where they would...
Phrenology?
Phrenology.
Okay.
I mean, this shit's insane.
So, okay, Longhouse. We have a process. It is not like their process. Now, I can understand a normal tribal member not understanding this.
Sure.
Because they are used to a Western-style, top-down, hierarchical, Robert Rules of Order government. That's what they've been trained on. Just like the church, just like the parliament, just like the American government. Just is the tribal system be called a republic, sort of?
Actually, I would kind of consider it it's
Social democracy?
supposed to be representative of a democracy, but it doesn't really play out that way when you give the executive essentially
you don't have a Congress.
Power.
Yeah, you don't have a Congress
there's
or
no
parliament.
Congress. 2 out of
You
3
only
of
have an
them-
executive.
That's it.
And a bureaucracy.
Well, you know, see, here's another thing with it.
So it's more of a fascistic setup.
It is. I mean, when you really get down to it, because those two fucking people who team up, they can decide to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
What would be nice would be the tribal cleric actually holds a lot of power that they don't usually exercise. If the tribal clerk refuses to sign off on something, it actually is not an official act.
Right.
And I've been wanting to, you know, have a tribal clerk elected who would
With
be
nuts?
like, fuck you. I'm not signing this. It's wrong.
Yeah.
So this will not go into effect.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, neither do I.
In any case,
Yeah,
the
let's-
Longhouse has a very different structure. We don't have like rulers, right? So, and there we have like clan representatives who sort of have their own mind. They're people we've chosen because they have a particular kind of mind, and they have to work together. And not one of them can just go off their own and sign something. Now, when they got sucked into this process, because they're part of the suit that was put into place before any of these current sitting Loyane were, you know, Loyane. So, you know, it's not their fault. They got sucked into that.
True.
The one who's been at all the meetings was told to keep it all confidential. So we don't know the nuts and bolts and details. And that's not how our system works. So from the outset, I don't know, you know, I can understand how a normal tribal member would not know that. There are people in the tribe who are Longhouse who absolutely do know that.
There is a person sitting on council.
There's one in council now. There's a former counselor, and there's even in the older agreement. There was from your longhouse.
Yes.
So we have multiple representatives from multiple longhouses who, you know, for whatever reason, go over to the tribe. And I don't blame them. Longhouse moves slow, man. You know?
It does.
It's got no money.
Yeah.
It's got no authority.
Yep.
Can't be a dictator there.
Yeah.
Unless your name's Ray Halbert.
Yeah.
But, you know, the people that became dictators made a court first.
Sure.
And then they made bylaws.
Yeah.
And then they had police.
Yes.
I notice a pattern, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just noticing the pattern. And now I'm noticing 2 elective councils really getting serious about checking ID.
Yeah.
Notice that one?
Oh, I made a big stink about it the other
Yeah.
day because they had an emergency meeting in Gowinoga.
Yeah.
So it's Gowinoga residents only.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, you can't go there if you're from Snai.
That meeting that happened that was last night, right?
Yeah, it's a Gowinoga residents. I don't think it said only, but I mean,
It was kind of implied.
it's for Gowinoga residents.
Wow.
It's the same as Snai, you know, like this is for our constituents.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's just for you. If I miss the meeting in Snai, could I go to it on the island? Could I go to this meeting on the island to learn if I'm from Gunawaga?
Yeah, no.
Like, what if I have the wrong status card?
I think they're checking because people from Gunawaga are starting to show up.
Yeah. And I don't.
Which says they don't know who their people are.
Yeah, exactly. Which you should. I mean, honestly, to me, it's like, you know, obviously, you're not going to know everybody. There's 10,000 people who live on the res.
I
you
know
what
everybody.
I mean? It's come on. But see, everybody listening, Josh likes to fuck with me. But yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting them to know all 9 or 10,000 people who live on the reserve. You know, that's unreasonable. But the way that things work here, somebody's going to know everybody who's at that fucking meeting.
Yeah.
And are we at the point where we have to do that?
And if a guy from Gunawaga starts getting wild, we're going to notice.
Exactly.
If he's like, he talks in that weird way that Gunawagas talk, we're going to notice. You know, hey, who's that guy from Brooklyn?
Yeah, gotta know it like this.
We're going to notice.
Yep, definitely. They do have a unique accent.
They have a unique set of accents.
So, on that thing, I think they should know.
Yeah, it affects
So
them.
do I.
Yeah.
It affects them.
Well, we
That's what
talk
I
about
mean.
I
That's
mean,
what you're saying, right? I'm like, they need to be in there. It's
Funny
crazy.
thing, if this is going by the Treaty of 1796 made with the 7 Nations of Canada, at the time the capital of the 7 Nations of Canada was Gunawaga.
yeah, and the
Say that again?
Abenakis.
Holy heck!
Yeah.
That was like a tongue twister. Jason, bro.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, when you think about it, the Abenakis should be there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
What's left of them?
Well, but you get my point. I'm
Yeah.
just using it for a fact, but you know, I mean, really, everybody who is, you know, can trace their lineage to the 7 Nations. I think that it's fair for them to do that. We talk about the Mohawk Nation as a whole.
Yeah.
What's the problem with Tyndonega being there, or the?
Well, Tyndonega wasn't part of that.
But I'm saying not the 7 Nations, but we're talking about the Mohawk Nation overall. Yeah. Like, what would be the problem with that? Because I happen to be one who believes that the actions of anybody who would be, you know, from one of the Mohawk territories, we all have an interest in that. You know, there's supposed to be this unity stuff. I mean, but we don't even practice it here. MCA in the tribe, you know, they seem to usually segregate themselves from each other pretty well until it comes to this. And why? You know, like, what the fuck is going on here?
And that's the power of the longhouses. We're able to go across, you know, community lines, international borders, and that's, you know, I was thinking about power. So, you know, this tribal council likes to put on the bottom of all their documents that they are the duly elected, federally recognized tribe. That's saying we are empowered by the federal government of the United States. We are an arm of the United States. And it's the same with Mohawk Council of Akwesasne.
Sure.
Mohawk Council of Akwesasne is a band council that is empowered by the Indian Act. They are an arm of Canada. They are part of Canada. We are ruled by Canada and the United States.
Absolutely.
And we can only push the United States so far.
Right.
Even Russia can only push the United States so far.
They're doing a pretty good fucking job of it right now. They are.
Well, they elected their president.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying Putin's. Well, anyway, we can do that after.
I like Tulsi.
I see. So do I.
Well, until she turned
For the
into a
most
religious weirdo.
Well, she also turned into all of a sudden like this
MAGA person.
MAGA person who is also like she's like this fucking hardcore Zionist now. Like, where did that come from?
Paul, it came from the pockets of APAC.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually,
Hey, APAC, how much can you pay me to before the settlement?
I used to think Tulsi was a fucking badass. You know,
She was. When
a
she used to come on
badass.
Rogan, I was like, I don't see what you guys don't like about this lady.
Yeah, neither did I. Now I
Yeah.
see some things, but whatever.
Tangent.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot where I was going.
What do you think about our tangents?
I'm trying to keep up.
It's okay, man.
Yeah.
This is like combined knowledge of two longhouses and cultural teachers.
Yeah.
We pick and we've learned.
We pick
shit.
and choose and do things as we want.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. The point was that the longhouses obtain their power directly from the people.
Absolutely.
There's no longhouses without the people. Those buildings, they're just buildings. There's nothing sacred about them. Set them on fire. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
It's probably help us. We'd have to just build one big one,
Yeah.
and we'd have
That
to.
would be nice.
And we could all yell at each other. Who does the great law the right way?
Yep.
You
Yep.
handsome Lakers. Me. Well, you're the Tri-Council. Well, you're a bunch of liars.
You're an arm of the MCA. Blah blah blah.
You're all Christians. Well,
Yeah.
you're all devil worshippers.
You go and pray and you repent. I mean, that is the kind of shit that
We
happens.
agree about 99% of everything.
Yeah, they really do. And then it will be you'll like my longhouse, the nation longhouse. It'll, you know what I mean? They'll pick at these things, and it's like, yeah, I know we disagree about it, but like, do we really need to make it a fucking, like a world-ending kind of thing here?
So we do have a plurality of thought.
Yes.
But there is a through line.
Yes.
And that's what you'll see. And that's our power. It comes from the people. And I think that speaks volumes, whether or not, whatever religion. Like, I do think, I think from the point of view of the elective councils that the longhouse is a religion. And that's its place.
Which is incorrect. But
Yeah. But I think that's, and if your documentation, like I remember I used to use my my red card at the border all the time. And I would get letters that it's a fantasy document. So.
Yeah, I mean, but that's.
And I can only push Canada, United States so far.
Yeah.
So,
I think we all understand that too. Is like, for the brief period of time that we're on this earth, at some point there's only so much progress that you can get done in that span of time. And we just have to come to terms with that. That doesn't mean to stop fighting or to not have those huge dreams about like reaching the nirvana of what we imagine it would look like. There's nothing wrong with that, but there has to be pragmatism in there. There has to be realism in there. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because you're only going to end up super frustrated if you can't snap your fingers and we control all of our lands without interference. We can trade with the Russians or the Chinese or
when there's 90 million of us, we can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
And that's why I approach these things fearlessly. Like earlier, so when I invited Trent on, he was a little nervous because he said, well, they might take your tribal card. And I don't know where that came from. I mean, ooh.
You really were worried about that?
No, I was just kidding.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
no, if you get to know me more, I joke about those
Okay.
things more than I should.
I think some people do legit.
No, some people do.
And on the
No, I
Canadian
don't care.
side, they do lose service. I've heard of people losing services
So
when
have
they've
I.
challenged like police.
Mhm.
So
I've heard the
that
same
can be
thing.
a real thing. And we have to watch the march of power.
Yes.
Just because they're your neighbors don't mean they always have your best interest in heart.
And when they're part of the bureaucracy, frequently they don't, especially when they control the bureaucracy.
And remember, they're never wrong, and no one ever is responsible. And I do think, as in the future, as protests go, the direction protests, even environmental protests, needs to go is start finding individuals with greater portions. I noticed a thing happen in New York City today with an insurance guy who was a top insurance guy, and somebody took his ass out.
Oh, I saw
Yeah.
a ticker. I did not get to look at it at all yet. But it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely going to read about that.
Yeah. So was that a protesting or a gangster thing? Who knows?
You know what? I was actually looking, because you and I, we frequently talk about this kind of stuff here, and you're a social justice guy, right? So the clip that you sent, or was that you sent me the thing on Dave Smith, or was that the other libertarian I know?
Might be.
I think it was the other libertarian I know.
sent you to Shane Gillis once.
But Dave, yeah, those are always good too. But Dave Smith was talking about how, the things that they get us to argue about, racism, whatever. And I'm not saying that those aren't a problem. They do exist, but it really became a focal point in, around 2012 when the Occupy protests were going on. And there were people outside of, Lehman's and Capital One and all these giant banks
that just been bailed out.
Exactly. And
that have now monopolized banking.
Exactly. And that is not a coincidence. There is no, this has become, they've pushed these talking points, transgenderism and all of this stuff to kind of get away, draw our attention away from what's really hurting us, and that is the elite class. And so all of this to me comes back to a class war, and I actually think that this is kind of representative of what we have here
on our scale.
On our scale, because those those rich people here who are buying up land already, when this goes through, they're going to do the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
In those like blocked off areas, and then the tribe is going to put buildings there and rent them out for, they're going to make them rich off of that land, or they'll rebuy it like they did with the IGA.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking scam.
Right. It's a funnel.
It's a funnel to make the rich people richer. All that land that they bought, how many houses are they building over across from number 9? 6.
Well, a former guest of this podcast had a little thing to say about that today.
Yeah.
That was an interesting little article. What'd you think of that?
I didn't see it.
I sent you it. And you said, holy shit, yeah.
Yeah,
so
God.
Why don't you reference, because I had to send it I didn't believe, so at first I was like, oh, blah, 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 because like, yeah.
Was it on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew his stance, and then I actually read the entire thing he wrote, and I was wrong.
Well.
Sorta.
We weren't wrong in the sense of you weren't wrong, I wasn't wrong when it came to the show that we did with him.
Yeah.
Because he never said anything like that.
Yeah.
Up until whenever you showed me that.
Yeah.
And by the way, I went looking on his Facebook to find that.
It's on Jonathan Lazor's.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, Facebook's a terrible way to send shit around. It's like one of the worst ways to like communicate.
Because you see their name, but you don't know if it was their post.
Some people will see that in a week.
Yeah, exactly. But essentially what was on there was, Ron, who former guest of the show, he, and former tribal council member, he went into pretty long detail on why he feels that the settlement agreement is no longer, representative of something that is good for our community. And he referenced, these various, details of, why he said, things that have been changed that substantially change, that are substantially different from what was being, put on there from 2005. And he gave the impression to me that he was saying, look, they have changed this deal so much that it is not anything like what had been on the table, and that those referendums basically are moot now, and we would need to go through it again, and it should be gone through again and voted on by the people, understanding, that these things have changed. And I think it would be really beneficial as one of those kind of documentary evidence things would be to, okay, well, now let's run side by side those things that Ron was talking about that have been taken out of the settlement agreement and put those alongside what's there now. And now I wouldn't agree to the settlement either way, but I'm just saying put them side by side and then defend your point that this is the same fucking thing that the people voted on in 2005 and 6 and whenever 2004 when they voted on those things. Is this the same thing? And if not, then you have even less of a leg to stand on to try to push this fucking thing through. I mean, when you've substantially changed it in that manner, you're not this isn't what people voted on in the first place.
Yeah.
And they know at this moment with the powder keg that's, sitting underneath the council, they know that I'm pretty sure that at this point we could drive out votes against it.
there was over 100 people, right, at the Longhouse over the weekend. And, the question was asked, who could say the Mohawk Nation should sign this without prejudice, without making you feel bad? And nobody answered. The 1 week thing was like, well, what's the alternative? And I do find that a false dichotomy. It's this or nothing. This or nothing. I keep hearing that word, this or nothing.
So
they're just presenting. Another thing I've noticed with the death of all our independent media is we're fed our choices rather than having the breadth of our choices. Because I don't say nothing. What's an alternative? I'll give you an alternative right now. Judge Kahn's decision says that the reservation boundaries as of the Treaty of 1796 are the same. Mm-hmm. That includes Barnhart Island. That
Absolutely.
includes the Power Dam. That includes all. I think it even goes into Westville.
Yeah.
So
okay.
My father is an expert in this.
Okay.
He's read Franklin Huff's book so many times.
Holy shit. Okay.
He's got it outlined. I mean, my God.
He's probably read like Fenton and all that too.
Yeah.
That's ace.
Yeah, he's the Indigenous white guy you'll ever see.
Fucking right. I gotta meet this guy.
Yeah, he's gonna have a feather. So in any case, all right, we get 5,000 men from Onkwehonwe and we go repossess the power dam, backed by both police departments.
Yep.
How about that? And that is what we wager with. This is ours now.
Yep.
When you have something that doesn't belong to you, you take it back. I'm sorry you put this expensive dam. I understand the federal government's not going to let them keep it. But let's start repossessing. You guys found out that if you take an action there, why they might not be able to charge you with anything. How about that?
Because they can't produce title on it. And yes, I know that Josh and I kind of danced around this issue when I was still going through the criminal justice part of when I got arrested at Barnhart with the others. But, it was my understanding that they couldn't produce title to it. And when I walked into court, when they dismissed the charges that day, I actually, I asked the ADA who was there, why now? What about this? Why is this being dismissed right now? The first thing that I was told was that, well, we only wanted a 6-month ACD, which is a conditional discharge. It's basically if you don't get in trouble for 6 months, we're going to drop the charges. Now, none of us accepted that because we didn't do anything wrong. And in particular myself, and I was there as a journalist, but the my understanding was that they couldn't produce the title to the property. And not only that, so I asked the ADA about this, and he tells me at first, that we only wanted the ADA, or we only wanted the ACD. And then he tells me, we don't have to tell you why we're not moving forward on the prosecution.
Keep a scumbag.
I kind of did lose it a little bit.
You think he smoked crack after or what?
Huh?
Think he smoked some crack later or what?
Holy fuck, I don't know. Man, him and the former mayor fucking lighting it up. Give me that pipe, Pookie. Give me that pipe, Pookie. But it was like
bigger fish to fry over there, Messina. They're shooting each other.
The look on his fucking face, like I really wanted to,
Yeah.
I was like that close, and so I walked out of there. Yet again, them showing the arrogance, the hubris, we don't have to disclose anything to you, although we're public officials. The reasons why we decide to prosecute or not to prosecute are not up for you to be informed of. And, so I think that, in a part of, and I know this is going to come off sounding really self-important, but I do think that one of the reasons why they arrested us and, dragged us through 6 months of not doing it, not really being able to speak too much about it, is because they knew that if you're not an idiot, when you're going through a criminal prosecution, you try your best not to talk about it too much. Mm-hmm. And Kimmy, Marina, Danalee, Larry, Brent, they're at the forefront. They're one of, they're very strong people on this subject. And they're going to be able to, muffle them at the very least, for 6 months. And as you said earlier, they've been moving fast on this, the state in particular, and the tribe's just going along for the ride.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. Why? But now you have these people who have been working on this for years, doing the thankless job that nobody else is doing and making it an issue. Why then? You know what I mean? They did it then. And me being a journalist, I have no fucking, I've been wanting to write something about this for 6 months, but I knew it was stupid to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hurt the others, first of all.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hurt myself.
You're not self-destructive as I am.
No, well, my piece is almost ready to go.
All right.
Yeah.
It's, you release your other thing too?
Yep. It's all gonna, I'm just gonna let it all fly. And I mean, this whole thing, it just reeks of too many coincidences. And I'm not a big believer in coincidences. It's just, I guess sometimes they do happen, but this all, when you look at it in totality, it just stinks. And, the people who have been pushing on this the hardest were muzzled. I was muzzled, and they know you and I do this show. Earlier, if I wasn't prohibited, I would have went off on this months ago. Yeah. Because I think this is what they fucking did. This is what they wanted to do. Yeah. They wanted to shut us up.
Yeah.
And they effectively did, and
except for our podcast. But even we couldn't speak about it the way that we mentioned
wanted
on their paid mouthpiece.
Yeah. I mean, although I will say the cover that the picture that you did of me,
it's badass.
Holding the bars, that's fucking great. I want to have shirts made of that. It's fucking hilarious. It's ace.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all of this stuff, you look at it in all compiled together, and what else do you come away with?
Right.
Why are they moving so quick all of a sudden?
I got one more thing to complain about before you let this poor guy go. I saw a little post that got up my craw. It was by one of the tribal chiefs saying, "Hey, stop trying to influence your leaders to not sign."
Who said this?
Beverly.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, number one, she's got no out. She knows our system.
Yeah.
Influencing our leaders is part of our system.
Yeah.
It knows that we discuss things in our system. Just because you're buddies with a clan mother, I mean, that kind of cuts down your clan mother, really.
Yeah,
that's not a very friendly thing to do to your friend. So, it just stuck in my craw because it was basically shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And dude, we can't stop you.
Yeah.
You stay in your lane. I'll stay in my canoe.
Yep.
You stay in your ship.
Yep. Because that's they have jumped into the ship. I have been saying, and I said it earlier, but I'm coming out more wholeheartedly now and saying it. And yeah, I have people who I really like that are on the councils, but I will say this: if you sign that agreement, then I think you have committed treason against our people, particularly when so many are finally coming out and saying, no, I don't agree with this. Mm-hmm. In the case that I laid out earlier about how, Ron, really sparked it, but, I can go through the rationale for, like I did earlier, to say, look, this agreement is not the same. Just what Ron put out there, it is not the same. This is not what people voted on. So you're having you're going to sign off on something that is fraudulently representing itself as to the content of what people actually voted on before. And not only that, how many people voted on these fucking referendums? A few hundred at most?
Yeah.
That's, I forget, we did the math before. It's like 0.008% of the fucking of our register or enrolled people. Mm-hmm. That's absurd. Yeah. And people like Trent had
they were diapers.
They couldn't even fucking vote. Some of them were embryos still, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and my friends who are, in these high lofty positions, I'm not just calling you out it's not that. It's just that
He's gonna fight you.
Well, I'm saying like this is, and I'm dead serious about this. It's it's like just you have to be considerate of the fact that like I don't think it's too far out of left field to say that that's a treasonous action against our people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I don't know how you could have an understanding of the longhouse system and think that a lot of people would be totally uncool with this.
Yes.
Like is it hubris? Is it blindness? What is it? Because just a jurisdiction, just from a greedy ass, this is my club. Oh, we get to hand all our jurisdiction to you guys? Mm-hmm. Gee, thanks.
Yeah.
There's no clause in there. Hey, if you're longhouse, you can put your shit in a longhouse boat.
Right.
You can negotiate with the other guys on your side.
Yeah. I mean, if it's...
Our negotiators are apparently shit.
They are shit.
Our longhouse negotiators, they are bad at negotiating.
Okay, let me... okay, now I'll do... I know we got to end pretty quick here, but I am going to put in my last complaint about this. The lawyers. Mm-hmm. Okay, so every single fucking firm that is representing the nation, MCA, and the tribe, when you look at those documents and it shows, the law firms that are representing the plaintiffs and where their offices are and all that, they're all in DC.
Yeah.
They're these big fucking Indian law firms.
Yeah.
They're hooked into the K Street fucking insider trading shit.
Scum.
Yes. Absolutely.
They're the swamp
balls.
that Trump was talking
they
about.
And they are the swamp. Look, I can't fucking stand Donald Trump. And look, I almost get the feeling like he kind of doesn't like these people either, but he is smart enough to use the system.
Crafty.
Yeah, I mean, the guy he's dopey, in a lot of ways, but he's also, he's cunning. That's kind of the way I would look at it. But these fucking law firms, the ones who are representing the people, they're all hooked in. They're friends with the legislators. They're friends with the senators. They're friends with the big time lobbyists. Like I would not be surprised if some of them are hooked into like the chief of staff. The high ranking cabinet members, the president potentially. I would not be surprised about that because I know people who have lobbied before, and they told me it's even fucking grosser than you can imagine.
Yeah, lawyers are the scum of the earth.
I mean, I won't.
We should hunt them down.
I've defended lawyers, but there are some good ones.
As a group, we should exterminate them.
But I will say, the ones who are into this stuff, to me, my opinion is they're very grimy because they're actively undermining regular people, and they're doing it to us. They don't give a fuck about Indians. They don't care.
Yeah.
They've been milking us for 40 fucking years for millions of dollars in court, in representation fees. We pay their expenses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking crazy. And they don't stay at the Motel 6 like we do. When you work for the tribe and you go on a trip, you stay at fucking Motel 6 or the Holiday Inn. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But that the council members probably don't stay there. And you goddamn know well that those lawyers are not staying there. They're going to the Ritz or and if
you want us to say nice things about you, better put us there.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, shit. But yeah, listen, Holiday Inn and Hilton and all that, we will take your sponsorship. We will whore ourselves out for you. But it's Josh can. I'll just say nice things about you.
You just sit in the corner and watch.
Yeah. Oh God damn. I think we're making our guests really uncomfortable. But but yeah. So I mean, those are the things, and so what bothers me is. That there are Onkwehonwe attorneys who are experts in this field of land claims and such, who would have an alternative theory to this case. And when do we ever hear that?
Because they don't have those connections, right?
Right. Because they're not going to, they don't work for one of those, K Street firms. But I know there are native attorneys out there who would have an alternative theory to this case. A way to attack it in a manner that, maybe it won't win. I don't know. But there certainly is other perspectives out there, and we never get to hear that. Never.
And to our guests, the basis of this whole thing is that New York State violated the Non-Intercourse Act, and that means that the state can't buy land from Indians. They have to have approval from Congress, and they didn't get that back in the 1800s, right? This bill will go before Congress, Trump's Congress, and they will make the ultimate decision. And Congress can really decide whatever they want. They can even terminate the entire reservation if they wanted to.
Right. Yeah. True.
We like to use the words inherent rights, but the United States considers itself the law of the land.
Well, we are also considered a domestic dependent nation.
And until there's 30 million of us, we kind of can't challenge that.
Yep.
And that's the positive long range view is this doesn't matter. Like, I hope, if people feel a way about this, do what you want. Don't be too mean to each other. Mm-hmm. Let's not get nasty.
That's fair.
You can get annoying.
Yeah.
You can bother everybody's day. You can make them late to work. And you can do all kinds of shenanigans if you are so inclined. However, let's not get violent. And they will get violent. Police are violent.
Yeah.
Can I bring in a piece of this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Absolutely.
We are actually trained in nonviolent direct action. And my question I was going to pose to you is like, what are we going to do about this? Mm-hmm. I understand this information is powerful, but like the solutions I'm hearing from a lot of people are we need to learn our culture, we need to learn our family, we need to learn all this stuff. I can't do that by Saturday.
Right.
No.
What are we going to do about this?
You might not be able to do anything about this.
Yeah, we might be.
Some of life is acceptance.
So to me, like I said, this is what we do. I'm not going to sit around.
Right.
There's power in the people. Nonviolent direct action is when you force your thing to be heard. Mm-hmm. Like I understand there's whole things for longhouses, but people who aren't involved in these, who have no voice.
Yes.
All these people who are not in longhouse, SRMT, MC, under 38 years old and cannot vote, they all need a voice.
Yes.
What are we going to do? I'm buying a house. I don't have a voice in my own land, in my own house I'm buying. So what am I going to do? Yeah. Am I going to sit here until Saturday? And am I going to smile while they do this and say thank you? No. Am I going to sit here? Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm asking people. Yeah. And the answers I'm getting are not answers that are going to... We are in such a short-term thing. Mm-hmm. And, I brought up my studio because... We've worked across the world with people that when these issues are going against your livelihood of everything you hold dear, they're shutting down streets. Mm-hmm. They don't care about you being late to work because they care about their lives. Right. You can go be 5 minutes late. Go to a reroute. Yeah. You need to do stuff like the oil extractions. Mm-hmm. They've shut down banks. Yes. Simple methods of newspapers with wheat pasting, screen printing, all this type of things. I got banners here. We make with communities. We empower people. This banner we made was with little kids who don't even know what voting is. Mm-hmm. But when you see this and it's made by the community and the community has made it with you, they know the power behind this because they did it. They sat there with you. Mm-hmm. They're not just seeing it on the TV no more. You're involved with it. Yes. We need to give these people a voice.
Do you have a way to contact you for the public?
So, you can, if you want to do things, go on my Facebook Live. But if you want to get professional and serious about this, you can reach out to us at Fishbear Studios or my personal. But I don't do... We are into nonviolent direct action, and we want to do stuff. We make banners. We climb and we drop things. We need to be seen. We need to shut things down. We need to put this in their face because unless we don't put this in their face, they're signing this. Yeah. I don't got time to do this long-term things. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know no lawyer to fire her. I don't remember her name. What am I going to do about a lawyer? Yep. My concern... And I've narrowed it down as an individual, as an SRMT number, status number 010605. I don't have a voice in an SRMT thing. I'm not proud to be with them, but I'm being held hostage because I need health, I need heat. So, but saying that, I can use the same thing, the legal terms they use. And I'm demanding as a tribal member that gives you power for a voice. I know it's not good to go into their system, but I'm a tribal member. I'm already in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a legal right for me to have a voice, as well as every single 2 decades since 2004. Every single one of us needs a voice. And they're not letting us get a voice. And we need to do stuff. And the community, I have reached out to places. I go online. I say this publicly, like, come and help me make banners. And, like, we have a small crew, and that's what I'm asking, is we need help to initiate this change. I'm not saying we need to go and burn shit down. Like, I'm not trying to go to jail for 50 years. I'll definitely go for a little bit.
Overnight.
And I got a little max too. Like, I'm not gonna get too crazy. I'm. If you ain't,
I'll litter.
If you ain't comfortable with risking anything for change, you're not doing nothing.
Right.
And I'm not saying risk your body, risk your energy, risk your time. Say these people who are on the front line, risking their lives, risking whatever. You can be a support. Who's gonna watch my kid if I get arrested for a year?
Sure.
Who's gonna help me pay my bills? Do I have the support of my family?
Yes.
Like, are my friends going to come and watch my kid if my dog, you know? Like, you do not have to be on the front line to support change.
That's true.
All you need to do is show support to the people that want to do it.
So, how do people reach out to you? Do you have an email?
What's your preferred contact?
Yeah.
Fishbear Studios?
Yes, it is Fishbear Studios. I mostly respond on my personal, but like Fishbear Studios is like, we'll definitely do it, but like I'm on my personal. You'll see me
on Facebook
doing call outs for, I'm Trent David.
Okay.
Soggy Nuggets online. If you want to challenge me on Call of Duty, I challenge everyone. So, well, that's beside the point. But yeah, like it, if you want to reach out to me, I'm a very open guy. Like, I don't care if you're for or against this.
Yeah.
My fight isn't this. I'm not here to share my opinion because everyone has their own. I'm not going to sit with you for 2 hours to shape it. My fight is what I feel like is achievable, and that's me wanting to vote.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you if I agree or disagree. When we go to vote and it's a majority, I can't argue with you because that's a majority who voted. And I feel like this issue is so big and it's getting such a limelight that people are going to come out and vote. And then what are they going to say when you come and vote and you don't have a tribal card?
You can't vote.
So then you don't matter. So now it's going to be a whole issue. And like, there's so much little details to this that people aren't understanding and need to sit down and like look at this. Like, even the Barnhart case, that was such a big discovery in all of this. And nobody is, how isn't this getting sent to the table?
Yeah.
There's so many questions we need to be asking, and we only have freaking Saturday. I don't know, 3-4 days.
Well, remember, it has to go before Congress, even if things get signed on Saturday.
We can lobby the Congress people to refuse it, even if they do. When are they saying that they're going to sign or not sign?
Saturday.
Holy shit.
The last tribal informational meeting is on Thursday.
That's
at
tomorrow.
5 p.m. at the.
So if you're listening to this podcast now.
Now's the time to go ask one question, at least. You got your last chance,
You can show them your banner.
Exactly. Oh, they'll see it.
Yeah. All right.
So that's my message when I came on here is I just want to have people, if you're not going to get into it, just learn. Just take the time to know what you're talking about. Don't let people shape your mind. Look at different people. I literally debate with people who are with this. And I will see in your eyes because I need that point of view. And everybody needs to see every single point of view. This is a huge issue.
Right.
And I don't know if we have time to do that.
And there's only one shot at it. That's
it.
Is there time to inform everyone right now?
I mean, there's always time.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, though.
I mean, again, that's the long range. For now, what you can do about it, I think nonviolent direct action, like you, if you're not for this, is the way. I mean, it's the only way you have.
Yeah.
Like
that's about That's
You
about
know,
where we're at.
protests and all that stuff.
Protests.
That's all you have.
Yeah, like
Impede
I'll write my letter to them. I hope it gets there in time.
Right.
I mean, I think that's a fair compromise. Is a vote.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a big ask.
No, it's not at
That's,
all.
that's something I shouldn't have to ask for.
Yeah, and then keep it from escalating too far if you're out there, please.
Yep.
You know, I know
Well,
some people can get wild.
Oh,
Not
I
you guys,
definitely
but
know- I
some people can
definitely
get
know.
extra wild.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a few. I know everybody might think I can get a little wild, and I can, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that whole children thing really does just mess with your creds.
Mm-mm.
My kid's growing up, I'll be such a fucking menace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're Sage Against the Machine. I'm Joshua,
I'm Isaac.
and our
And
guest
I'm
today,
Trenton.
Trenton. And check out Fishbear Studios. Find his live streaming, Dabbers. What was it called?
I don't even have a name. We're just testing you.
Yeah.
Soon.
Dabbers.
Help me make a name.
Okay, yeah, come up with a name for this guy.
Yeah. Send us emails.
Yeah.
Send us messages.
What was our email again?
Comments. I don't goddamn remember anymore.
We're terrible at marketing.
Yeah, we really don't promote ourselves.
Yeah,
enough.
Fishbear Studios, man.
All right, look at their stuff. It's beautiful.
It
Oh,
is.
you want to see my shirt?
Let's see their shirt.
Oh, is your thing good here?
It's
Yeah.
not bad.
Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
wow, look at
That's
that.
the logo.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is
That's
gorgeous.
the Fishbear.
That's nice.
But yeah, this is some of our merch. We make clothing. We do screen print. We do all that.
All
Yeah,
right.
everybody go support Trent and Fishbear.
Fishbearstudios.com. Heck yeah.
All right, Onkwehonwe.